Welcome back to 2W Conversations, the podcast where eavesdropping on us isn't only okay, but encouraged. My name's Danielle, and today we're talking about building a positive culture in our strategy here at 2W. Many people believe that culture is solely defined by benefits, whether that's free lunches, casual dress code, or happy hours. But people forget that it goes way beyond that, and that's kind of what we're here to dissect today. So I'm joined by Joan and Colleen, who are two big drivers behind the culture we've built here, and I'm really excited to pick their brains about our overall strategy. So thank you both for hopping on.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Nowadays, company culture ranks higher on an employee's priority list, whether that's for a new job search or evaluating a current company. And to me, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, we spend a minimum of 40 hours a week at our jobs, and culture is what makes Mondays less dreadful. It keeps you engaged long term. It increases productivity. Having a good culture is important. Of course, I'm biased, but I think we have a good, well-rounded culture here at 2W, so that's why I thought it'd be a good topic to bring on here. We have great values established, leadership influence, work-life balance. We encourage professional development. So I kind of want to explore all of these concepts, starting with our values. So how do you think our core values fit into our overall culture and impact our employees?
Good question. We're a culture of we. It's not the individual, but we work together better. And we're more collaborative, which brings more value to our clients. If we have an employee who perhaps is struggling, we surround them with help. We've got a lot of expertise. No one can be an expert in everything.
This is a question I get so much during my interviews. Candidates want to know about the company culture. And we have a very collaborative culture, as Joan said. Everyone in the organization works for each other, regardless of where they're at on the org chart. It's a very supportive environment, and we're really encouraged to contribute to each other's successes, I would say.
Yeah, I love this aspect. This was something very apparent when I was interviewing here as well. And I think it's very unique how cross-departmental we are. And it's never weird when you get a certain call from a certain department or a certain person. It's expected because of how much we talk to each other. So, of course, you two are big drivers in communicating our culture to everyone. But would you say all employees really have an impact on making it as successful as it is?
Of course. No one acts alone. It's cross departments, it's client facing, it's internal. It's all very important to us. And it's something that Colleen and I work on all the time.
Every day.
Every single day,
and it's just not, and it's very important when we bring somebody in to stress. We, of course, have a hierarchy here, but you can ask anyone up, down the ladder, and I think you will find that everybody is helpful.
And I like to stress to people in the interview process that nobody can bring value to the clients by themselves. So I think the team does a great job of surrounding each other and helping each other out when necessary.
Yeah, and Colleen, we were talking the other day, and you mentioned the open door policy that our leadership team tries to encompass across the organization.
Yeah, for sure, and that's something that shocked me in a good way when I joined. It was amazing how often I was interacting with senior leadership. My voice and ideas were heard from day one, and I felt like I could just generally make an impact right away. I really think the senior leadership team does a great job of actually having an open door policy. You hear it a lot, but to see it in action, it really says a lot about an organization. It really just keeps an open flow of communication between team members and managers, and really allows them to feel that they can go to their manager at any time with any issues, questions, concerns, or suggestions.
For example, our CEO will talk to anybody, welcomes questions. He's invested in the business just as every employee is.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I remember when I first started and still being newer in the workforce, saw that I was reporting to Mark, the CEO, and it surprised me right off the bat. But I'd be lying if I said that I expected as much communication between us, especially being in my role. But it is just the way it is here. And it definitely has made a huge impact in my work, being able to have those conversations with him as regularly as we do. And I think it's a psychological thing, too, where if you bring ideas to upper management or someone higher up on the org chart and they respect your opinions, they take your ideas, they use them, it invites that conversation to happen later on, and which brings endless opportunities.
Yeah.
It is empowering. And we have a lot of good ideas that have been brought and changed the company by people who actually do the job, because they're the ones who know best, the ones that are in the trenches. This is what our clients are asking for. This is what would make it better.
Exactly. So, like I said earlier, culture is only as good as the people executing it, right? So we have to find the right people. And this is a question more so for you, Colleen, being heavily involved in the recruitment process, but how do you make sure your new hires align with our culture?
You know, we make sure that our values are communicated throughout the interview process. Interviewing is a two-way street, so in some ways the candidates are interviewing us as well to make sure the role is a right fit for them. So transparency from both sides from the start is key. We also do a great job of tailoring our job descriptions so that they really portray the voice of the organization and really shows the culture and the values and who we are from the start. And it also helps the job description stand out from other generic ones out there as well.
And I will say, that is no easy feat. I feel like traditionally interviewees just looked at skill set alone, bring up their resumes like a job descriptions and kind of go at it with a checklist mentality. But now your position, talent recruiters, they're having to add that personality analysis into it, and it takes a lot of skills. So we are very grateful for your ability to do so.
Colleen also goes one step further. Actually, many steps further. So it's not only during the interview process, but when a new employee comes in, she will check in. How are you doing? Is this the job that you thought it was?
Right.
Do you need additional training? Continually checking in, getting the feel to make certain, because of course, when somebody changes jobs, they come here, they're deciding, did I make a good choice?
Yep.
And to make certain that they're supported and that they're getting what they need out of the new position too.
Yeah, and you do that at the 6-month mark, right?
So I try to do one at the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 6-month, and all the way 9-month and 1-year mark. Because really the onboarding process, it's a year-long process, and there's no specific end date to it. The assimilation process starts the second you walk in the door, and really just continues on.
Yeah. And that's awesome, because I feel like sometimes a lot of companies, they go head first into the culture the first couple months, but then you see it as a new employee start to fade.
Dwindle.
So it's important to keep that along the whole process of their employment.
And we've built up such a good culture. We want to make sure it's a fit for both us and the new hire.
So, like everything else, initiatives, best practices, culture, it all has to start at the top. And we've been talking a lot about leadership already, but it's because we have a great group of people modeling this positive behavior that helps us set the tone of this culture for everyone else. So do you want to go a little bit more into that?
As you know, 50% of our employees, they work remotely. So some of them I've not met in person. They have never been to Pewaukee. They've never seen the office. So it's getting those people to feel that they're a part of the company. And we do this by an all-hands meeting, quick stand-up meeting every Friday at noon. And it starts out actually even before the meeting. So maybe 11:55, 11:50, people start to come on. And we'll just chat. Hey, did you guys see that solar eclipse? Football season. People who have hobbies, and they will mention them. And we'll all just kind of start talking about that. Our meeting then will start at noon. Our CEO will talk about how the business is going. Maybe we've got a new client, new technology. We'll go into that. And then we ring the bell. And that is, we celebrate work anniversaries and also birthdays. Then it's turned over to the rest of the employees. Kind of an open forum. And what is really nice is it has turned into coworkers recognizing teammates, and it will go on and on. It's really nice to see.
And it's cool that it never feels forced. Mark will finish up his shout outs and then people will start jumping in almost immediately. And this is really unique because, especially in larger companies, I feel like there's more of a competitive nature than a collaborative one. So it's really cool to see people genuinely shout out their colleagues. It's cool to see every week.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, and it feels great to be recognized. So it's something we just like to foster that open forum for that. We also try to build in little events here and there that can get everybody involved. So, for example, this Friday, we're doing a 2W trivia. There are prizes involved, and the trivia is based off the company and employee fun facts. We try to do happy hours once every month, once every other month. It's really those little things that go a long way.
Just like security in your business, the little things add up. Can you share a recent example of a management-led initiative that has improved employee morale?
I would say really the option for our on-site employees in Pewaukee to work remote on Fridays has impacted the morale. It really shows that they are trusted to get their work done either in the office or at home, and just shows flexibility and allows for flexibility.
I agree. It's something that people are asking for. While we work better together, it is nice to have that opportunity to just work from home.
I'd also say that our leadership team does a great job with supporting individuals with their unique goals and assisting them when necessary. What have you seen there?
We do have a lot of opportunity for growth. As the company grows, we like to promote from within. And actually, Colleen is working on this. Career paths. For example, we had the P21. It's a new offering. And it was during one of our all hands meetings. And Mark told everybody about what it was and said, does anyone have an interest in this? And right there, somebody raised their hand and said, I would like to.
Yeah.
And in front of the company, it was really a nice thing.
Yeah, and we have that internal career page that we post all the positions. Do you do that before we make them public, or is that simultaneous?
We will typically ask, we just want to have employees let us know kind of what their aspirations are, what they want to do in their career. We're growing, and chances are we have that here. So figuring that out on the front end so we can open up those doors and opportunities for them. Actually, about 15 of our employees have been promoted or moved positions within the organization in the past 5 years. So that just really shows, the opportunities for growth, and just a lot of those roles weren't even created 3 years ago.
We would like to invest in our own employees and have them grow along with the company.
Yeah, and I think that's huge. Another thing that stands out to me when thinking about what makes a good culture is managing workloads to, again, avoid burnout, avoid the boredom. So how do you think we as a company handle this?
Yeah, I think we do a great job of utilizing Microsoft technologies. So we really encourage our employees to utilize Microsoft Bookings for their meeting management. When you use that, you are able to schedule meetings for either 20 minutes or 50 minutes to give you breaks in between back-to-back meetings. So you can go to the bathroom, you can relax, take a breather, and allows you to block off time from your calendar from people scheduling things back to back to back. So you're not burning out, after 3 days of 8 hours straight of meetings. We also utilize the focusing tool on Microsoft Teams, which allows your teammates to know that you are focusing on something, and that they shouldn't be disturbed, obviously, unless it's an emergency situation. So really utilizing technology to have more control over one's day, and just, making scheduling a little more automated.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to trust again, because we don't do a ton of micromanaging, and that's not to say we don't check in and make sure people are held accountable for what they're doing, but we allow them to take control over their calendar. And if they feel like something's better in the morning or the afternoon, then they have that flexibility, like you said. Another big factor that can drive turnover is the feeling of not being challenged, and this is another big culture aspect, I think. And we take this very seriously, and this ties back into professional development. So can we talk about what opportunities we give to our employees, not necessarily a new position, new role, but also a continuous learning mentality?
We have a number of opportunities. We have certifications that we actually encourage it. We give time in people's day to better themselves, to whether it be a Microsoft certification or an Epicor certification, or other things. I think, Colleen, aren't you going for an HR?
I brought that up to Joan. I was like, hey, I think I'm going to do this, on my free time as well. And she's like, well, that's something that's going to better the organization, and has really encouraged me to go for that certification.
Yes. So we have that. We have a number of webinars. I know that Colleen and I do in HR, payroll. Things are always changing.
Yep.
We have employees in 14 different states, I believe. To be an expert in all of those is difficult, and which we're not. So we rely on webinars, things that will enhance the employee's experience. Whether it's, there's a new program coming out through our payroll department for choosing your benefits.
Okay.
And it's based on AI, and we'll be rolling that out. It's a webinar that Colleen and I just went to make it a little bit easier, because it's not just about work, it's also about the benefits, about extra things that the company can bring to the employees.
And we're very open to employee input on what they want to learn. So if an employee wants to pursue a certification, attend a specific webinar or a conference or something, a lunch and learn, that's something we are always open to, and, really like to spread the word on those things.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like if you have a goal in mind here and you seek out the resources that'll help you get there, no one's going to step in your way here, which is a great feeling.
You have to
share the goal. Let it
be
be heard, for sure. And these are conversations we like to start early and have often, so when a new hire starts, they know that there's opportunity for growth, development, and just continual learning. And then checking in on that, seeing where they're at, seeing what supplemental resources they need, and just, continuing that path for them.
And I think the checking in piece is huge, because I feel like sometimes companies can say, okay, hey, we have this opportunity, and then never bring it up again. And they then come back and say, well, I told you. But it's like, okay, everyone's human. They're going to forget. They need the constant reminder that it is available. And then they feel like you actually want that for them, instead of just saying it as a benefit or a perk.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about Rob Stone and his journey here? Because I think that's an amazing story and a great example of the growth that we see here.
It is. Rob is a kind of a model employee. Started out, I would have to check, but I would say 5 years ago.
Okay.
Because it was before COVID, right before COVID. We hired him on. It was an internship program through WCTC, the local community college. And he just took on more and more responsibilities. After he graduated, he continued, and it was just little by little. He started out wanting to go into security. Ethical hacking, I think, is a pastime of his, and he just worked his way up through the company, and through his hard work and curiosity is really what it was. He was at one point the manager of the IT group, and now he's our system administrator.
Yeah.
And doing a great job, keeping all of our internal processes going, and he keeps his hands in a lot of pies and has been very valuable to the company. It is nice to see how he has grown.
That's really cool. It's always cool to hear those stories.
Isn't it?
With all the growth that we're expected to see in the coming years, and hiring new team members and adding new positions, what is it that we're doing to make sure that culture stays consistent and maintained, even though we're going to be growing and a lot's going to be going on?
Continue to do what we're doing. Just that openness, the collaboration. Somebody's struggling, surround them with help.
I think all the small talk in, like, before you actually get into the beef of a meeting too, especially with the remote employees, is huge.
Yeah. And culture takes effort, so it's something we do have to continually focus on, and just be in the habit of revisiting, and just making sure we're consistent, so that we don't lose that, because it can be lost quickly, and it's so, our culture and values are so important to us, so just making sure that solid foundation continues on.
Awesome. So do you want to give the lowdown on our open positions right now?
So we are currently looking for people to join our sales team as either account executives or client success managers. We are looking for Epicor consultants, either on the Kinetic side or the Profit 21 side of things. We are looking for project managers as well as IT consultants.
Awesome.
Additionally, I think we're looking for a bookkeeper.
Yes,
too.
yep, we just added that as well. So anyone with an accounting background, bookkeeping background, we would love if you applied. Yeah, or reached out directly to me.
Awesome.
And all of these are due to growth. Every single position that you mentioned is due to growth. There's one other thing that I wanted to talk about is that I think is important in our culture. You had mentioned resignations, and nobody anymore stays at a company for 30 years. You start on and you retire.
Yep.
It's going from one job to another, finding out what you like. We love to keep and have employees grow with us. Unfortunately, they all can't do that. And sometimes an employee their path is going to take them somewhere else. And those we think of as graduates.
Yep.
And we celebrate that. We celebrate their time that they spent here, and you are an alumni of 2W Technologies. You're always welcome back, and we wish you the best. No hard feelings, nothing. We honestly root for you.
Yeah, I love that because that carries out the culture even past employment, I think, and that's very unheard of. So that was a good call out. And I think the best way to sum up our culture is that it's the best of both worlds, in the sense that we're a close-knit, supportive environment that a small company has, but we also have the expansive opportunities and resources typical of a larger organization. So I want to thank you both for hopping on. I appreciate you taking the time and chatting with us. And we are extremely grateful for all you do for our culture because, like I said, culture is what makes an organization. As for everyone else, you know the drill. Like and subscribe, and we'll be back.